How can it be? When I was brought to the Besley, she laid her head on my chest, and when she was taken from me, I found them, and I said, I'll keep them. They may not help me escape in body, but they will in mind. So here, Dr. Manet, he matched the hair of her daughter, which he had kept with the Miss Manet hairs. So that's why he said here, how can it be? Means the same hair. How can your and the hair which I have, how can they be same? When I was brought to Besley, she laid her, and now he is talking about her daughter, how he got the four hair of her daughter, because when she was very small, she laid her head on Dr. Manet's chest, and there the four hair, it fell down from that time, and Dr. Manet, he kept the four hair with him as a very that precious thing. So they may not help me escape in body, but they will in mind. So they stayed in his mind, though his body it was uncaptured. He looked at the hairs again. Was it you who laid your head on my chest? No, it can't be. You are too young. Now Dr. Manet, he was recalling about his daughter, but still he was there in that in the still he was thinking about his daughter, who is very small still. Okay, and then that's why he said, no, it can't be. You are too young. You are too young means my daughter, she is very small, but you are grown up now. When Defarge and Laurie realized that the old man was responding to his daughter, they moved closer. Miss Manet spoke gently. Now when Dr. Manet was responding to Miss Manet's questions, so they moved, Defarge and Jarvis Lorry, they moved closer, but Miss Manet, she stopped them from there. Don't, gentlemen, don't speak, don't move. And she made them alert not to speak and not to move there. The sound of her voice awakened something long forgotten in the poor soul. And when she spoke these words, it just awakened the mind of the poor soul. Poor soul here means Dr. Manet. Whose voice was that? I know that voice. Who are you? My angel. So he suddenly recognized the voice of his daughter and then inquired, whose voice was that? I know that voice. Who are you? My angel, and referred Miss Manet as his angel. I can't tell you my name now and who my mother and father were. It's not the time and this is not the place. For now, please just hold me. So she responded for that. She could not tell the name of her parents, but and then she told that because this is not the proper place, so she just requested him to just hold her. Miss Manet laid her head on the old man's shoulder so that her radiant hair shone upon his cold white head like the light of the freedom. She held him close and rocked him to her like a Miss Manet put her head on the old man's shoulder, and so that her radiant, shining eyes shone up in the cold white head like the light of the freedom. So from this the putting the head on the shoulder, it was just the sign of the freedom that they both are uniting again. Means the girl, she got her father, and now she would free her father from that place. I have come to tell you that your pain is over. I'm taking you to England where you will have peace and rest. Laurie looked at Defarge with the concern on his face. So Jarvis Lorry, he told Dr. Manet that he came there to take him back to England, and now this is the time when he would get peace and rest, and the time of his pain was over now. Laurie looked at Defarge with concern on his face. Do you think he is fit to travel? Better to travel than to stay in this place. And Defarge asked if he would be able to travel, and then Mr. Jarvis Lorry told that it would be better if he would travel with us than to stay in this dirty place. That night Miss Manette insisted on sleeping in the dirty room with her father. She tried in vain to reignite some spark of the past which had long ago faded and died. His only recollection was the Basile, and as far as he knew, he was still imprisoned there. So Miss Manette, she tried very hard to bring her father in the life, but all that was in vain. And then the thing which Dr. Manette could remember only was the place Basile where he was still in the prison. In the meantime, Laurie and Defarge had made all the preparation for their journey. The next morning, as they were getting into the coach that would take them to Calais, Defarge handed Mr. Laurie the papers they would need to get Dr. Manette out of the country. And when Miss Manette, she stayed there in the room of Mr. Manette. Jarvis Lorry and Defarge, they made all the preparation to go from the country, and the next morning they were getting into the coach. When they were getting into the coach, Mr. Defarge, he handed some paper to Mr. Laurie, which would help them to get out of the country. Mr. Laurie did not ask Defarge how he had managed to deal with the authorities so quickly, but simply shook the man's hand and thanked him. Mr. Laurie, he did not ask because he did not have time. So he just simply thanked him by shaking his hand. As they passed each gate of the walled district of Paris, Miss Manette sat beside her father, held his hand, not letting it to go for a moment opposite Mr. Laurie's plain open face, looked with sympathy upon the defeated soul of his old friend. Defeated soul means here he did not have the hope to live again. He was little more than the dead man taken from the grave. He was little more than a dead man. Means he was only physically, he was there. Physically, Dr. Manette was there, but his soul, it seems that it was dead there. Physically, he was alive. The troubling question was consumed Mr. Laurie was, do you want to be recalled to life? And the answer that kept coming back was, I can't. So Dr. Laurie, he was just asking about himself. In his mind, that question was going, recalled to life, and the answer was there, I can't say. He was thinking from the point of view of Dr. Manette here. So my dear student, this all was the shoemaker. I hope you will watch this video very carefully. Thank you everyone.